I'm Cav. Welcome to this episode of Local Bites. Today, we'll be making Tuscan chicken together, or I should say Tuscan Style Chicken. Basically what this is, it's a beautifully creamy sauce with some sun-dried tomatoes, some zesty components, some lemon juice, some white wine. The first thing I'm gonna do here is I have my chicken breasts. I'm gonna go ahead and coat them with this lemon pepper spice mix I made. So essentially this is just a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of black pepper, and some fresh lemon zest, and I've kind of rubbed it between my fingers to make it all come together nicely. Rubbing it between my fingers will also make sure that the essential oils out of that lemon zest infuse everything else. So I'm gonna season both sides of this generously, as even as I can. You want to make sure you get both sides. So season this side. This little Salt Bae action. I am seasoning these kind of heavily because it'll also help with seasoning our sauce. Looks like we're ready to go over to the stove now with our beautifully seasoned chicken breasts. So I've got my pan on high heat here, medium high heat I would say, but it's nice and hot. So I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil in my pan, just enough. I'm gonna coat the bottom by swirling it around a little bit. I'm gonna add my chicken breasts. So when you're searing your chicken breasts, it doesn't really matter if you cook them all the way through because you're gonna finish them in your sauce. But you wanna get a really nice color on both sides. Some more aromatics and herbs. I have 2 cloves of fresh garlic, and I also have some sage, some sprigs of thyme, and some rosemary. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna prepare my sage by just rolling it up and cutting a chiffonade. Now a chiffonade is just small strips, ribbons if you will. I'm gonna turn that 180 degrees because I want it a little bit smaller. Cut it the other way. So the thyme and the rosemary, I'm just gonna pop in whole and I'm gonna fish them out later. For the garlic, I'm just gonna give it a nice little tap with the back of my knife. That usually helps with getting the skin a little bit looser. Turn it 180 degrees, cut the other way. Now I'm trying to accomplish a mince here. And sometimes you need to go over with your knife a few times, but you want to make sure that you're not going over too many times because if you over process garlic, it can get a little bit bitter. I'll check on these. So the reason why I'd like to sear my protein before I add it to the sauce is that it really gives a really nice, beautiful depth and flavor, which really contributes to the whole dish being tied together. Our chicken has a beautiful sear on it now. Let me show you. Look at that. On both sides, it's nice and golden brown. So I'm gonna take it out of the pan now. onto another plate. So as you can see, we still have a little bit of fat left in there with some drippings from the chicken, as well as some stuff that's still stuck on there. So we're gonna get all of that good stuff off, but not before we add our sliced onions. You can add a little bit more fat if needed. I think I need a little bit more so I don't burn my onions. A bit more olive oil. You can actually see how the onions took on a beautiful caramel color from the pan drippings. I think that's really nice. That's gonna give our sauce a beautiful flavor. So now our onions are cooking off really well. They're a little bit translucent on the outside. I'm gonna add my minced garlic and cook that down a little bit. Dish that I feel like could be served like on its own, but also on top of something like polenta or rice or risotto. I would even do it over rice noodles, dare I be that bold. Now that I've sweat off my garlic a little bit, I'm gonna add a little bit of white wine to deglaze the bottom of the pan. There's a lot of really good stuff that's been cooking along with our garlic and onions in the pan still, so I'm gonna add that and hopefully it'll come loose a little bit. Just any white wine can be used. Rieslings, Pinot Grigios, anything light and crispy usually is the way to go. So to this, I'm gonna add my sun-dried tomatoes that I've sliced thinly. And some chicken broth. So I did add a lot of liquids in there, which is nice. I like it saucy, but I'm gonna let that reduce a little bit. Get some flavors mingling, jingling. So to this, I'm gonna add maybe 2 small sprigs of rosemary and some thyme. And essentially what that's gonna do is it's gonna steep with that white wine and that chicken stock. It's gonna have some beautiful flavors. Our sauce has been simmering for a few minutes now. I can see there's been a little bit of moisture reduction, which is nice. That's what we want to see. I'm gonna add some heavy cream. So this is 35% cream. Usually, if I was using anything less than 35%, I'd want to heat it up first so my sauce didn't split. But because this is so fatty, I don't have to really worry about that. So I'm gonna let that cook down for a little while and then we should be good to go. So you can actually see the sauce starting to change color a little bit. That's what we wanna see, but we wanna thicken it up a little bit more. I'm gonna add our spinach now. Grab that. Grab my tongs and just push them into the sauce a little bit, just so they make contact with that heat a little bit faster, wilt a little bit faster. One thing I love about spinach is when you poach it in a liquid, if it's a sauce or even just water, it turns such a vibrant, beautiful green color. I love my food colorful. So now that my spinach is in the sauce, I'm also gonna add my chicken and the pan drippings. I'm also gonna add our chiffonade of sage. Sprinkle it into the sauce. And I'm gonna let that finish up for a few minutes. I'm gonna turn off the pan and let the residual heat cook the chicken the rest of the way. We've already seared it and it's been in there for several minutes now, so it should be fully cooked. You can also use a thermometer to check. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add some butter, lemon, and cheese to finish off our beautiful Tuscan style chicken here. And you do have to remember that the sauce might look a little runny, but it will definitely thicken as it cools. The cheese that I'm using here is actually Grana Padano. It's similar to Parmesan, except for we're not allowed to call it that because it's not from the Parma region. This actually does need to cool down a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean like actually a lot. Okay, so our dish is done now and I'm gonna plate it. So how I like to plate this is just pick my chicken up out of the sauce. Grab some of that good stuff from the sauce as well. And there we have it, our Tuscan style chicken. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode and spending some time with me. See you later.